Hello all. In this video, we are going to focus on how to create a new dog into the database. For this, you need to have your Java installed along with your Eclipse IDE with STS, and you must be able to finish my SpringBoot 7 video. Okay. Let's go to our Eclipse. So this is after SpringBoot 7. Let's go ahead and see our home page. Okay, so localhost dog home. So here we can search by ID and we can add a new dog and we would be able to modify this. Okay, so add a new dog. We got a white label error because we didn't write any code in order to add anything. Okay, because we don't have any controller methods yet. Okay, so now let's go to Eclipse and add a controller methods. Okay, so we already know that we could write this way also, right? Model and view home. Okay, so basically what we can do is we can return home here. Instead of returning home, we can return model and view. Okay, so for that, normally what we have to do is model and view mv is equal to new model and view. Okay, so I'm commenting out this because this is a string. So maybe throughout the project, I will be using model and view. So I'm commenting out this. Okay, so as you know, we will be writing more controller methods. One is for add, this is for home, and we are going to write for add, we are going to write for delete, view, all that stuff. So for that, I'm going to use everywhere this one, and that's why I'm going to declare it here. Okay, so model and view, I will be using just the variable name. And since we will be using a variable here, you have to be very careful whenever you set or whenever you are not setting a view. Okay, so you have to be very careful there. So what we will be doing here is we will be setting our, what we have to set. We have to set our mv dot set attribute. What's the method of this? Set attribute, set view attribute, set view name. We have to set view name, and this should go to home. Okay, so this is basically the same thing what we have done earlier in the earlier video. So there is nothing new here. So I'm saving this. So whenever I save controller, which would run automatically, and I want to make sure whether it is working or not. Localhost dog home, yes, it is getting there. So now we will see what the dog home is having. Okay, this is HTML page which includes some bootstrap and all. So this part is a bootstrap, so that's why, again, you might have know all these things, that's why I'm not explaining. So the title, what I'm doing here is we have action called search in the form and add, and we have view, modify, and delete. Okay, so these are the three different actions here, and you could see that here one is for search, one is for add new dog, another one is for view, modify, or delete dogs, right? So we got this. So in this video, we are going to concentrate only on the add. Okay, we will come back to search and view, modify in later on videos. So in the add, so we have to use add thing here. So that means this is a button that if someone clicks this button, add new button, it should go to the adding the dog. So previously how we displayed here is basically we wrote like a dog name, dog ID, and dog something is equal to like this, and we have printed that onto our HTML page. So now in this project, what we will be doing is we will be adding that onto the button here. Okay, so for that, what we will be doing is we will be writing a source code for our add. Okay, so let's go ahead and write your add thing here in our controller. Okay, so go ahead and add your controller method, which is public. Yeah, we will return all model and views here. Model and view, and you would be able to see right add method. Okay, so I'm doing this from my dog home page, right? So I'm going to what I have to do, so which is nothing but I would be using mv dot set view name. Okay, so whenever I click on add dog, it should go to a HTML page of what page? You could see here of what page? Add new dog.html. Okay, and you could return mv, and you could return mv here, which is your model and view. So if you see, if you notice here, why I used a variable here, a global variable, rather than creating that object every time. So basically, I would be using that all the time. Look at this. It's very important what to name here. Okay, so let me add dog. Okay, and then run. So basically, if you save, it would automatically run. Okay, now let's go ahead and write our local host dog name and click here. So we still get white label error. This is because of the naming here. I wrote add dog, whereas in my home.html, my action is just add, right? So that means it is searching for add dog, but it didn't find. So that's why I'm getting that error. Now go ahead and modify add dog to just the add. Okay, so now whenever you run, your web request would be able to come to your controller method. You have add that would communicate to your view and able to render whatever the information it is there. Okay, which is nothing but this one, which is nothing but your add new dog.html. Let's go ahead and run this. Localhost dog home, and now you would be able to see this here. Okay, so as you remember, previously we entered here 1, 2, 3, and so on. It would be able to get it. Okay, so now let's enter something, and dog name would be puppy. And you would be able to do it as some pug. And you get an error, which is true because we didn't write code anything for the submit button on the add new dog.html. So now let's go and see and what this is about. Add new dog.html. This is a time leaf HTML that we are using here with the bootstrap. And here, if you notice, here we have action of add new dog, and here we have, this is the page, and in this page what we will be doing is we just entered here. Okay, so this is the one that we did. So now we didn't add anything here. So what we have to add is we have to add our dog. Okay, so let's go ahead to our dog controller and we will write another method, public, that returns model and view, which would be add new dog. Okay, so basically this is going to be adding into the database here. Okay, add new dog. So I'm going to, okay, how to add? So usually how we normally add, insert into values, insert values into table, and then we add those values, right? So instead of that, we already have our repository. Now we will be using our repository to add values into the database. Okay, so for that, I'm going to create a new dog repository variable. Dog repository is our class here. If you notice on my left navigation pane, dog repository is our class, as our dog repo. Okay, maybe you have to spelling correct. Dog repository, I don't know why. Yes, yeah, dog repository, just import that. So what we need to do is we have to add that one. So how we would be doing is dog repo dot, basically we are saving that particular one. Okay, and it has to take an entity, and whenever you are adding a dog, you have to pass an dog parameter here. Okay, so that entity is nothing but your dog. I mean, that's true, right? You have to enter dog ID, dog age, dog breed, sorry, dog breed and dog name. So which is nothing but your dog entity, and you have to add it here. Okay, so now you saved that into your repository, and you would be, after you save, after you submit button here, where you want to come. Maybe you want to come to home after you submit it. Okay, so now that means what we need to do is we have to set view name to your home, and then return your model and view. For this, what we have to write? We have to write mapping request. What name we have to write? So we have to go and check in the add new dog.html, whatever the name that we have to write it there, which is nothing but add new dog. Okay, so this is the way that you would be adding a dog into the database. Okay, so now let's run this once. And see our code. And let's execute that. Add new dog. Okay, we get one, we get puppy. And let's say we get pug. Add new dog. Okay, so we get an error which is null pointer exception. If you notice here, look at the address bar. So you get add new dog page, and in that you are doing ID1, name puppy, breed pug, right? So this is because of dog controller 35, which is saving. Okay, so that means we are getting some error from the repository. So let's see some error message here. Oof. So we are getting null pointer exception. So we are adding a dog here, using this by the graphical user interface. However, we are getting error. That error might be of, okay. So remember, this is a dependency, right? So we will be using auto wired. Forgot to add that. Okay, so now we are going to, this is basically a dog repository is a dependency to this one. So in order to make that repository objects and all that stuff, because we are not creating objects of dog repo is equal to new dog repo. So which would be initialized in the container, and that has to be communicated through a tag or annotation called auto wired, okay, which you already know about that. Now run and we'll see. Relaunch one more time. I think no errors, which is good. I'm going to run localhost of dog name, dog home. I'm typing. Add new dog. So now I think it worked, because what we told to add new dog is save and then come back home. Okay, and it came back home. Whether it's saved or not, how do we know? So we have to go to our MySQL workbench and see whether it is saved or not. For that, what you need to do is just do refresh all. I mean, you could select, you could right click anywhere and do refresh all. And now right click on the dog, select one more time. Now it has been stored, which is ID pug puppy. Okay, so this has been stored. Similarly, we could enter few records. I recommend you to enter few records of the data now. And I would be using ID2, dog name, let's say Cooper, foxhound, breed, add new dog. So it added and come back to us. Okay. I mean, usually as a user, I would like to see the dog has been added message. Okay, that's a good design. And we will see all the error messages, confirmation messages in the later on video. Okay, I don't want to write too much script in the HTML pages. That's why I just left for another video. So let's see whether we have added Foxhound Cooper has been added. And I'm sure everyone might be thinking, what if I added with the same ID, right? Let's try that. I think one was already added, and the name of one is puppy and pug. And let me write another one, maybe Teddy. And the breed is boxer. Add new dog. It's also added, even with the primary key with one, it added. So let's see whether it has been added or not in our thing. Okay, so which is it has been replaced, okay, with this one. However, if you want to write a complicated code, if already existing ID, you don't have to add, you could write that in your HTML page, that logic, okay. You could see your log also here, output. We have selected input, and selected input here, okay. So if you go to your IDE, now the Hibernate came into picture, okay, seamlessly. This would happen seamlessly. What is the first thing that I have done? I added something. So first I selected the dog, okay. So insert into dog, and you enter the values using question mark. Usually that's what we normally do, right? So with question mark and all, we added in the previous videos. So now you would be able to see that this has been selected and added the values automatically, okay. And it has been updated because we added with the same ID, right? So that's why it has been updated. So seamlessly your Hibernate came into picture and does all this for you automatically. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, so so in this video, basically we looked at these things. So basically we added a new dog into the database through our graphical user interface. Okay, so thanks for watching and wait for the next one.